Guys, we are live and we are here to answer your Power Apps questions that either you have here in the live chat or that you've given me before. We're going to go through a list of these. Now, on the screen here, we do have a list of topics that you guys have submitted. So I'm going to run this thing and show you some of the things that we already have. So going through, we probably have a good 20 different video ideas. And some of these things I thought it might be good just to sort of go through these. And wanted to also give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions live. And if I think I can fit it in here within the session, I'll go ahead and answer those. But so just to give you a little bit of a background, this app that is displaying on the screen, just to show you where that came from, before I did an app called Building a Massive Application. So that is out there. If you do a search for building a massive application, it should come up. If you also search for Darren Neese, it should really come up to the top. Okay. And right now the thumbnail looks like that. So if you're interested in how I built out this 100 screen application, that is the video, the live stream that I actually did, that I actually built that. So Rachel, hi, how you doing? Thanks for joining me here. And so anyway, there is also another video where if you do a search for Darren Neese video ideas, I created this video here. Again, another live stream where I encouraged you guys to use an MS or Microsoft form to fill out. And then I showed you how to create a Power Automate flow to take those values and throw it into my SharePoint list. And that's what's being displayed here on the screen. Michelle, thanks for joining. It's good to see that you joined 2 live streams in a row. Good to have you guys. All right. So that's a little bit of a background of what you're going to be seeing on the screen here today. And so just to show you in this case, I'm going to go into one of these and show you here. So here is one. And I was thinking of also creating another column in the SharePoint list called maybe either a sort order. I'll go ahead and create that. Let's create a numeric column called sort order. And this will be the order in which if I'd cover it in a separate video, perhaps the order in which I'll do those videos. And that will be based on this next column I'll create. I'll create a little column here, a number. Okay. And I will say, ease to create. So if somebody gives me a video idea and I'm like, oh man, I have to do a lot of research on there, I haven't done that before, really need to, or maybe I do have experience with it. Let's say there is a video, maybe there's a need for people to do offline apps. Now I have done offline apps. I have getting quite a bit of experience doing offline apps. And it's a little bit of a now the functions that you need to use are fairly simple, like save data, or what's the one, get data, I think. So you're either retrieving and reading stuff from the device itself. So if you need to be in an offline state, you can't work with your data source like a SharePoint list or Dataverse. You have to work right there on that device. So you'd use these functions to read and write. But then you also there's a lot of things to keep in mind. And I'd want to write out like a simple little app I build with you guys. And that would be a complex video. I really understand those topics. I know how I would do that. It would just be a big effort level. So I'll say here, create a column here, effort. I'll say ease of effort because it'll be like a 1 through 10 a scale of 1 to 10. My cursor here. 1 being very hard or a lot of effort. 10 being super quick, easy. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking there. I'm gonna hit save. All right, and I'm gonna go back. It looks we've got a few some comments here. So Kite to Serve, what is the best Power Platform learning roadmap? Start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or PL900? Okay. Learning roadmap. What I would recommend is I have a playlist out here called the basics of Power Apps. That's what I would recommend that you start with. To be honest, you don't need to know HTML. You don't need to know CSS. You don't need to know JavaScript. And in fact, the PL 900 is really the first certificate. If you're going to get certified at Power Apps, that is the first certification I would go for, and it's on the Power Platform in general. So you're going to have to know about Power Automate, Power BI, Power Virtual Agents, and probably shortly here in a little bit, Power Pages. so, so if you're interested in getting to know about the Power Platform in general, that would be a good certification to start with. But I wouldn't recommend starting off with certification. I would recommend going out and learning the basics first. Okay, so if you click on my channel here and you go into playlists, you're going to find a playlist here for beginners. And let me see if I can find it real quick. Power Apps for Beginners. And it's going to start with the first video where I talk about what Power Apps is. So maybe that's too basic. But if you look here, I've got 36 videos so far. And over time, this will just increase. So these are things that if you're an absolute beginner, and I'm ordering them in order from like absolutely beginner, like what is Power Apps? The next thing is how to generate a Power App automatically from a SharePoint list. And I have there with me a friend named Ashlyn that knew nothing about SharePoint, nothing about Power Apps, and I just built an app with her in the course of 15 minutes. I talk about buttons and so on and so forth. And as you move down the list, it covers more and more topics. There is one key video in here I'd highly recommend, which is this Power Apps training template, which takes you through using the Microsoft Power Apps template. It takes you through pretty much all the basics of Power Apps that Microsoft has released. When I looked at that, when I first got started with Power Apps, I noticed that I got stuck in a few places like, what? This isn't working quite right here. So I created a video so that if somebody was in my shoes back then, they could watch it, sort of go along with it, and pretty much go through the whole template in about an hour and a half and just get it done. And afterwards, you could say that, hey, I've been exposed to all the basics, and almost takes you to the intermediate level. So it's a really good video. I would highly recommend that. So if you do a search for this title, Power Apps Training Template, and type in my name, Darren Neese, and you'll probably find it very quickly. Okay. So Data is King says, hello, everyone. Perfect timing. All right. Very cool. Hello, everyone. You look familiar, Nicole. All right, very cool. All right, so and I'm going to be keeping my eye on the comments. So this is my lunch break. So at the most, this will just be an hour, maybe an hour and 1 minute, maybe 50 minutes. We'll see how things go here. Okay. So if you have any questions, I'll keep an eye and I'll try to address those. So, so what I want to do here in my Power Apps project, if you ever add columns like I just did a few minutes ago, you'll want to go over here and so we've got video ideas, and I'm going to refresh this. Okay, there we go. And Rachel says, that's really great, Darren. I get stuck most times on Power Apps templates. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. And while that's it looks like it's already refreshed, but something I wanted to show you guys, if you go back to Rachel, you just got me to think about one of the videos that I think a lot of people get stuck on. If you go into my live streams, it's the very first live stream I ever did. And there's a few minutes of like an echoing. It was a learning experience for me. And it's this very first one, Power Apps template, help service desk system. So that is the let me see if I can get you a good visual here of the if I get the visual of the screen, you'll probably see this little purple thing here. So that's the one that people sort of get introduced to, and you open it up and the thing does not work at all. And I think it's trying to use an Excel spreadsheet, and you got to get that in a SharePoint. And then it was a really old template, so a lot of things didn't work. So if you're interested in getting that thing to work, you should check out that video. And I have an update to that I just did recently. So lots of good stuff in there. So you just made me think of that. So thanks for bringing that up, Rachel. So what I want to do, and I am using a form. Typically, I don't use forms, but it makes things pretty quick and easy as you're trying to just create a little something on the screen to edit. All right, so I've got this form, and I'm going to go in here to the fields, and I want to add in those two fields. So I want sort order and was it ease? Yeah, ease of effort. Weird name, I guess, huh? Now I want to sort these. I want to make sure that the maybe the description's on the bottom. And then something else I could do is make this a little smaller if the form is set up for it. It looks like the columns are set up for two. Um, yeah, so I might make this more like a 12 to give me the most flexibility here. You're gonna see some of my frustrations and the reasons why I don't use forms. Uh, I absolutely, the more I work with a form, the more I just like, I'm just gonna rip this out and do everything with individual controls. Data is king. If you have 50 screens, is there any easier way to move a screen from bottom to closer to the top? That's an excellent question. Data is king. Um, I don't know of a way to do that. And what I envision, if you look at this application, I created 100 screens. Um, and that's not a best practice. Naming your screens like this is not a best practice. If you were creating an app that had 50 plus screens, I would be tempted to do it like this. I would keep it 1 through 50 and getting around like the order, I would probably have a screen that would allow me to easily navigate that. And I would have that based on data somehow. And I think we actually did that in this solution where we had, you know what? Let me click around here because I think I actually have init menu, absolute functions, video ideas. Yeah, I thought I had something in here that actually did something with that. Let me see that real quick. So we'll go into on start. If it was anywhere, it'd be probably be in here, right? Okay, so we have all these screens. Remember, we use Microsoft Excel to generate all this code for us. It was really cool, and I got that idea from Daniel Christian. He made a video about that, so I mentioned and linked to him on that. Okay, I'm trying to remember what is it. Okay, so we use this little global menu items for that, but then we had, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we have a data source out here, SP screens. I believe that was passed in. I'm having to sort of refresh my memory, guys. Okay, so this was a component, and we passed. Okay, so this component was aware of global variables. We set that up. Okay. Um, I'm trying to remember exactly where we set that up. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so we looked at that screens. Okay, so obvious it's right here. And I guess why that sort of confused me, a lot of times I'll create a table called screen use. And every time somebody goes to a screen on the on visible, I grab their identity, like their email address, I grab the date time, I grab the the name of the screen, and I throw that into a table, SharePoint list or Dataverse table, whatever, with all those pieces of information. Because in the past, when I developed other software, I'd get a question from managers, from stakeholders like, hey, who all uses this application? How many people use this application in a day? How many people used it in the last year? What are all their email addresses? And with that information, I could quickly generate a report that would give them all that. And people really like that. So, all the lessons learned that I've had in other software development projects that sort of implemented it in my Power Apps. So that's why I was confused by it. Let's go into this SharePoint list real quick and see what we had here. So I've got the title of the screen here, the menu text. Okay, so we got screen one. So this is going to match with the actual name of the menu within SharePoint. So screen one through screen 100. And then menu text, this is really what the what the screen name should be, like a knit menu. And this is the screen heading text. So we sort of made that dynamic. So data is king. If you haven't seen that live stream, I would recommend checking that out. And that is exactly how I would do it. Um, However, if you have less than 30 screens, 20 screens, I wouldn't recommend doing that way. But if you have a massive application, in order to manage it, I would recommend that's what I would do. I would go about it that way. Okay, so just to yeah, if you just do a search for Darren massive application, it should come up right here. And I go into that, and that was a 2 hour and 9 minute live stream where I go through all that, create the menu and everything. So that was it was actually sort of fun. And obviously we're using it here. Okay, so Michelle, that was great. That was the first video I saw of you. LOL. I was trying to make that app work. I'm so glad I stumbled across that video. Yeah, me too. So you're talking about the massive app? That's cool. Um, yeah. So Rachel says, "Thank you very much." Well, you're welcome very much. All right. So again, I'll keep an eye on the comments, but I'm just going to go through here, and I need to go back to the edit screen here, and I need to sort of move things around a little bit. Okay. So we got the title. Now the title, I want that to be fairly long. Okay. So that's like the brief description of what somebody's looking for a future video. And I think the person who suggested, yeah, I might leave that there. Okay, let me make that. Okay. Make it like that. The category, that might be enough. And links can be long. Let's go with yeah, let's do something like this. And then for the description, I'm going to make that really big. It's going to have most of the information in there. Okay. Yeah, I like the dynamic trick. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I really like it too. Now, I've never really done that I've never had a need in a real world application for a business need to have that many screens, but you never know. You never know. And also, there's concepts of doing that you could apply to other things. I mean, there's all kinds of cool collections and dynamic things about screens and linking that up to. One of the reasons you can't have a dynamic menu most of the time is because you can't have. I mean, you don't have a column type in SharePoint that says Power App screen and you just references that way. You have to have a reference and a collection already, sort of like how we did there. So anyway, so I'm gonna just go through these. Okay, so checklist inspection app, show more. Okay, so Mohammed sent us that, and there's an original URL. Let's open that original URL up just to see what he's talking about. And this is probably one of my more popular videos. It's my checklist inspection app. So if you guys haven't seen that, check it out. I think you'll like it. It was one of my first apps I did, and it's gotten me a lot of freelance work. And I give it as an example when I'm doing an interview or trying to get a job. It's like, hey, here's one of my apps. I actually give quite a few in my portfolio, but okay, so that is what they're referencing. Okay, a category example. Okay, so sort order. Great demo. Love to see how you organize questions, categories, answers into separate tables. Neat. Trying to build something similar. Okay. Now, this might be something that, what I should do in my little SharePoint list is I'll create multiple lines of text here and I'll say, uh, maybe Darren's notes. Okay, Darren's notes there. I'll create that. So I'll go over here and bring that in because what I'm going to say on each of these, I want to sort of keep that thought and crystallize it here in the data and not think through it and then just say it in this live stream and then not have it written down anywhere. So very good. So I'm going to go over here and refresh that. And I'm going to add it to this form. Um, I don't know what actually refreshed it. Okay, let me get out of that and retry that. Okay, did I not say Darren? Notes. Darren's notes. Let's try notes. Nope. What is going on here? I'll do a refresh, make sure it's actually there. Okay. And you know what? I just added it to the wrong SharePoint list. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to list settings, take that out. Unless I think that I could probably leave that in there. I might add my own notes. Yeah, okay. But I definitely want to add it to the other one. Okay. So perhaps training. Yeah, video ideas. So we'll go into settings there. And we'll say Darren's notes here once it comes up. Lines of text, and whenever you add multiple lines of text, you always want to make sure, at least in my opinion, that you always make this plain text. Otherwise, it always likes to put in div tags and it tries to mess with the HTML or tries to put HTML stuff in there when I don't want any. All right, so I'm going to go back there and then I'm going to refresh here. Okay, so now I should find that. Here's Darren's notes. Okay, I think I might try to shorten some of this stuff up here. There we go. That works. Okay, now on this one, I'm going to say edit multi-line of text. So hopefully that will help me out there. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm watching the comments for any new questions that you guys have. I named this a Q&A, but I knew that, some people just like to watch. They don't have any questions. They just want to sort of learn what they can, and that's completely fine. Okay, so this one, the sort order, I'm not sure on the sort order just yet. I think for the ease of effort, that would actually be fairly easy. So on a scale from, okay, I want to make sure I put this in here. I'm going to unlock that, and for the name here, I'm going to say ease of effort. In parentheses, I'll say scale of 1 to 5. Did I say 10 before? um, list settings. I think I might have typed that in there. Ease of effort. Yeah, scale from 1 to 10. Very good. I'm glad I typed that. Okay. I might say, take that out. And here in the text box, we could just put the hint text in there and say the 10. Okay, that's fairly easy. I'm going to give it a ease of effort of 8. Okay. And pretty much what this video would be an in-depth. I'd really like to hear from you guys as I'm going through these, because this is what I'm envisioning based on what they're asking for. I'm going to do an in-depth walkthrough. I'll say technical walkthrough of how I set up this app. Okay, because this video is very popular. I mean, look at this. It's got over 10,000 views. That's significant, at least for my channel. Okay. And I just sort of went over things. I went over what the customer gave me, which was an Excel spreadsheet that I show here. And I go through each screen as if I was a user using the application. I'll go over the SharePoint list for a little bit, but I go through each screen Okay, so I'm going to show you each of the screens here for you guys. Okay, so this was the heart of the application. It was the inspection checklist portion. Okay, and pretty much how I set all, and all this was dynamically driven. And I think even these tabs at the top were dynamic. Okay. So it would be like a walkthrough technically of how I did everything rather than just showing you, oh, this is an app and this is how you use it as a user. I'm just showing it off and that's it. Okay. So this would be here I'm showing the app admin screens and showing how I made everything. Well, I didn't show how to make it dynamic, but I did show you the screens here. Okay. So it would be a walkthrough of that. I'm gonna go back to set contents with that. All right, so that's where I'm thinking I'm gonna hit save. Hopefully that all saves there. Okay. Um, I don't know how much testing I did on that screen, so I'm just gonna go into this and I'm gonna go find a column called modified. This is a quick and easy way to find out if your app is actually working. A few seconds ago, boom, there's the 8. It's working fine. All right, so Michelle says, the more detailed for me, the better. Okay. I knew nothing about Power Apps when I started, so the beginner, the more you can explain, show the better. Michelle, that's great to hear because as I've been developing this small YouTube channel, I've noticed that sometimes videos, um, most of the people, I would say, on a really good video, maybe I'll only lose 30 to 50% of people, but on an hour long app, I mean, I lose probably not 85 to 95% of people within the first minute or two. So I'm really sensitive to not going into too much detail. I hope that I don't lose people, but so that's what my thinking is. So it's good to hear this that you actually do want all the details. So maybe I'll do a whole hour live stream. And guys, I can get so much more content to you guys through these live streams. Because if I were to create just like a 20-minute, a 30-minute video, or even an hour, um, it would take me probably an hour or two to record it. Then it would take me days to do all the video editing. So at the most, you guys would be getting one video every 2 weeks or one video a week at the most, But if I can do live streams, it's like, hey, whenever I get a free moment, boom, like my lunch break or on the weekends, I get so much more content to you. So as long as that works out for you guys and you guys stick around and actually watch it, I'll continue to do that. Okay. But let me know if there's anything that I'm covering, I cover too often that you guys don't find interesting that would make you want to fast forward. Let me know because I need to know that so I make the best content for you guys. All right. And I think YouTube really takes notice when people start fast forwarding through things. Um, or just drop off the first 30 seconds. They just stop recommending the video. So, but this is good to get this feedback. So thank you. All right. So, something I would say here, I could probably add another field in how long of a video, or it should be a live stream. Okay. I think I'm gonna just try to keep it simple and do this. Okay, so I would say 1 hour live stream. Okay, so format, boom, 1 hour live stream is what I'm planning for that, and I would go through it, and I'll hit save, and I just want to get on to the next one here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back, and I want this to be sorted a certain way. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of run mode. I'm going to sort this by ease of effort descending. Okay. So that should give me, yeah, the one that I just edited should be right there. Okay. And also I feel like, what is this link going to? What is that? So I've got this. Okay, so it would, in this case, it would have launched that video, so I wouldn't have to do that. Okay, this thing does what? It's been a while. Show description pop-up. Really? I did that? I don't. It's been a few moons since I've worked in this app and worked on this screen. So, okay, cool. I also wanted to put in some type of a date up here. Okay, so um, I'm going to say last modified. All right. I'm curious, how many of you guys have been following me along building out the ticketing, the help desk, service desk system that I've been doing on the weekends here lately? I'm up to video 11, and I feel like we've got quite a bit of stuff to still to do. So I'm interested in I'm curious to see if you guys have been following me along, and also how far into your ticketing system you've gotten as you've been going along with me. Data is king. I don't know if you saw my video idea. It was about how to filter a gallery using multiple drop downs with adding all and blank. Okay. If you did enter it with MS Forms, it's probably going to be here. Okay. Let me finish this, and then I'll get to that here in just a moment. Here, I'm going to copy that, move that over, and we'll say modify that. Okay. Okay. All right. So I mean, we don't have a ton of them. You know, something I want to do with you guys is I want to. This video here, I've got the link. Okay, so let me go in here and share that link with you guys. I didn't think of even sharing it. It's probably the most important link for you guys to have right now. Okay, so boom, I'm going to add this in there. Okay, there is the link. Okay. So data is king. I'm going to get back to you on that. Don't let me forget that. Okay. I got a few more comments in here. Let me see. Ronnie, when you build an app for a customer, do you put it in a solution along with any flows? That is actually a very good question. Wondering what the decision factor is on using separate environment solutions, etc., for Canvas SharePoint apps. All right, Ronnie, that I am so glad you asked that question, because the answer is yes. You absolutely should. If there is any plans of moving it to any other environment, there can be many reasons for doing that. I'm dealing with an issue right now at one of my main gigs, where we've got a dev environment, we have a QA environment, and then we have a production environment, and we're needing to move it around. And we're having some problems with the solutions. And we have, I'm creating the canvas. I have somebody else doing the Power Automate flows, and I'm having a hard time seeing. And we're within the same environment. It's not the default environment, and so he's creating the Power Automate flows, and he can if he creates a Canvas app, he can see his flows, and then I can see my flows, but I need to see his flows because he created for the app. Now he's made me a co-owner of those flows. So we're having a problem there. And what's funny is I could have him log into the app. That's not a problem, and have him add it, whatever. But we're having a problem adding them into the solution. We need the solution. You create it. By the way, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, or what Ronnie is talking about with the solution, I'm just going to open up a new window here. I'm going to go into Power Apps real quick here, and I'm going to go down to Solutions. Okay, so when you're in Power Apps, you'll see a little thing here called Solutions. Okay, you might see a bunch of stuff in here that perhaps came in with Dynamics 365 or some default stuff, or stuff that you've installed. You create a solution, and you would add your, well, you got to give it a name and everything. You would add in your Canvas app if it already exists, or you can create a new one from the package, and you just create a package. So if you've got, your application uses some flows, it uses some Power BI, it uses Dataverse, you package it, and then you package it, and then you go into another environment and you install that zip file that was packaged up. You install it in that other environment, And it doesn't bring the data over. It brings the data structures, it brings the flows and everything. And hopefully what you want to do is create that those data sources, like the references to SharePoint, references to any SQL Server type of stuff. You want all that to be dynamic, so when it moves over, um, you can tell what the QA sources are, the QA database. When it goes to production, okay, what's the production database? So absolutely, that's a great question, Ronnie. Absolutely, double down on solutions. And also what the even slicker solution is to have some Azure DevOps pipelines. If you've never heard of Azure DevOps or pipelines, don't worry about it. Typically, if you work at a larger organization, they'll want to use pipelines to automate that process. Okay, and then there's all this uh, the Center of Excellence kit that Microsoft has come out with. A lot of times, medium or larger size organizations will use that to sort of control the environments and to sort of nurture and help people and keep track of all the apps that have been created. That Center of Excellence uh, package, that kit, has stuff in there for deployments as well. So there's all kinds of stuff to look at that. But so the answer is a resounding yes for you, Ronnie. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to keep up with all the comments here. Where would I find the ticketing system series? I don't see it all right off your site. Okay, so on the site, I do have a website, by the way. I don't know if you really mean my website, but and perhaps I should probably have a page on there where I list out all my playlists, because sometimes YouTube doesn't have all this stuff in here very easily accessible. So you click on my channel here, click playlists, and I organize my videos. Every single one of my videos, at least if it's a public, sometimes my unlisted ones find themselves into these playlists. But I do this to help you guys out and also to help me out. Um, and it's this guy right here, this little guy with the little thing around his head, building a Power Apps help service desk system. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to play the first video in the series. And I'm going to click on this link here for the playlist. Okay. And this is a full course, and it's not only just a video course, but it's a coaching course where if you guys have any problems, I'm going to help you guys out. Okay, so right now we have 11 videos. Okay, today I was taking a break from that and just doing some general Q&A, so I'll paste that at the very bottom for you guys. If you guys have that, and then I am following and learning, still got lots to learn. Keep up the videos coming, appreciate it. Awesome, thank you. Cindy, of course. Now I found it under playlist. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's good. But over the course of time, maybe on the live stream, but maybe people are watching this afterwards, after the live stream. People watch, actually, more people watch it after the fact than come to the live. So there might be somebody had the same question. Well, what's he talking about? And so I have a Facebook group called I call it the Insiders Group. So if you do a search if you're on Facebook and you do a search for Power Apps Insiders Group, you'll find it. But what I ask people to do is to fill out a little form to let me know where you guys are at, what are your problem areas, what you need help with, that type of stuff. Okay. And Rachel, what are the reasons why you change it to modified? I mean, the formula. Change it to modified. Now, Rachel, I'm not sure I follow. So I didn't create a column. So SharePoint list already has a created by, modified by. So that's already in there. What I wanted to do was I wanted to see the date on this. So I see when the last time I modified it was. Is that what you're talking about? I'm not sure. So clarify, and I'll try to answer that. Okay. So Daniel donated $1 to the channel. Thanks, man. Guys, I'm sure you guys have heard of Daniel Christian. He's one of the few guys I really looked up to when I was starting out. So Shane Young, Daniel, Reza, April, and there's actually quite a few others, but Daniel, thanks. Hi, Darren. Awesome job. Love your work. Well, thanks. So both Daniel and my SharePoint questions, Andrew Hess, they've got YouTube channels. So if you're into Power Ups, you definitely owe it to yourself to check out their channels as well. I don't regard these guys as competition. Any of the guys I named before, either of these two guys, because when you listen to music on Spotify or however you listen to music, okay, do you like, let's say you're really into 80s music, do you just listen to one band? Answer is no. You listen to many, many bands. So yeah, check them out. Absolutely. What else we got here? So Ronnie says, thanks. I haven't found a clear answer on why you would use separate environments for dev test prod if you are using SharePoint as your data source. Yeah. Um, okay. Makes total sense for Dataverse. Okay. Yeah. Now you could have separate SharePoint sites or SharePoint lists. You would actually want to have them different sites because you wouldn't want any conflicts with the names. You could create, as I understand it, you could create a dynamic pointer to that SharePoint list. Okay. So as you're testing, you got a bunch of test records out there, right? And also, if you're trying to figure something out and you're testing, let's say a button that changes data, and there's real production data out there. Well, you don't want to mess that up while you're testing, right? So it's actually a really good idea. Now, if you're just if your system is being used by thousands of people, absolutely, you want to have separate environments. But if this is just like just being used by a mom and pop shop, and you probably have some tests. It's like for the garage app that I did. I have a whole playlist out there. I created a whole work order system and I went through it from A to Z, building out the whole system. You guys can see the whole system that I did for somebody here. I'm going to go back to my channel. I'm going to go back to playlist, and it's called Power Apps Work Order System Application Walkthrough. And I did that for a garage, and probably at the most probably 10 users, but it's for a garage. And I go through, and there are 11 videos. Okay. And I'll show you how exactly I do that. Now we just use one. A lot of times when I do contracting, freelance work, we just work with one environment. Uh, and there's a reason for that, because if they're finding me as a contractor to do freelance work, they're probably small enough not to have their own IT department or to have their own developer on staff or their own Power Apps person on staff. Because if they were that big, they wouldn't be asking for my help. They would just have that Power Apps person do it all. And then if they have their own IT department, they would have people that would handle the Azure DevOps pipelines and all that type of stuff. So you're going to find that in the medium to large size organizations. With the small ones, you're probably not going to mess with different environments. So just sort of think that. Also, if you create something really cool, a really cool application, and you want to send that off to a friend or you want to sell it, or you want to just put it out there and publish, let people use it for free, creating a little solution would be a great way of packaging all the flows that it uses and maybe even the Dataverse tables. So keep that in mind too. Okay. So if you want to share your stuff, that would be a good way to share it. Surprisingly, there's a lot of people that don't know how to upload and install an MS app file. So if you are in Power Apps, like here, how do you create an MS app file? The easiest way is to hit F12. Boom, it's going to save it. It's going to create a file, and it's going to ask you to download it. And that will be an MS app file. What file format is that? Well, it's a Power Apps project. It's the Canvas app, just the Canvas app. It's not going to have any flows or anything. If you save that, rename it to a zip, and you can unzip it and look at all the files. So it's actually a zip file. When you create a package solution, that's going to end up being a zip file. So it probably uses the same type of technology to do that. Okay, Rachel says, I did not look at it well to be able to explain. I will rewatch the video. This video. Thank you very much. Okay. So you were talking about the modified. Okay. All right. Well, let me know. And if you guys are watching this after the fact, or Rachel, if you wanted to, you're watching this later today or later this week, put it on the comments. I think I have read and responded to every single comment that's made on any of my videos. So just sort of keep in mind. So do I care about the comments, and will I either listen to them or respond to them? The answer is a resounding yes. All right. All right. Very good. So I don't want to download this right now. Okay. All right. So we have all these things listed. I'm going to go on to the next one down here. Okay. So these are some great ideas for future lunch and learn sessions with you guys. Okay, so I'd like to be in the habit of maybe doing this for every lunch, because I know when I do these live streams each day after I do it, it sort of energizes me a little bit, and sort of look forward to them. But it doesn't interrupt my day. too much. So I'm going to move on to this other one, asset rental management. Okay. Let's see what it says. Live stream comment. Hi, Darren. Appreciate your videos. Idea for rental application dispatch and receiving of assets. This is a great idea, guys. You know why? Because I just recently did an app like that. Um, and I think I showed I have a video posted to the insiders group. And so somebody paid me to create an application, and it's about tools. It's like a big corporation. They do a lot of they make big engines, put it that way. And they have these field technicians that work on these. I'm not talking about like engines for like factories or engines for like semi trucks or something. It's crazy some of the things I've seen on their website, the stuff that I've seen. And they've got all these field technicians, and they need to be able to rent out the big tools, the wrenches or like some big piece of machinery. Instead of going down to the local rental store to rent some equipment, they'll just use this Power App, and they'll go and they'll say, I need that item, and I'm going to need it for 60 days or 30 days. And then it will email like, okay, we got your thing. It will be sent out by the end of the week, and it will tell the person working in the warehouse what shelves it is on, and there's different sites, so it keeps track of all the sites. And at some point, I'd like to sort of demo that. It's sort of a cool little app. If I demo an app like that, I have to be really careful not to show any of my client information. That's really most important. The client's okay with that, or I'm not showing anything about their business data or anything. So, all right. So I see Daniel is helping me out here with some of the questions. Okay, my recommendation is have a separate dev test prod. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. With their own list libraries and match them to your application flows. Hope this helps. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Darren. Uh, okay. By the way, hi Darren. Having my lunch. Enjoy. Cool. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Very cool. And by the way, Daniel, I hope to see you later this year at the conference. And it goes for all you guys. So I live in Orlando, and there is it's actually the first Microsoft Power Platform Conference, Orlando. Okay, so let's check this out real quick. If you guys aren't already familiar with this, I plan on going. I'm looking for the right link here. It's the first link, of course, right? Okay. So it is, did I say October? It's September. Okay. And so I might be going I plan on going to this. I might actually be going to one of the workshops as well. So if you guys are going to that, let me know. I'd love to meet up with you guys. Maybe we'll have a little meetup of the guys that follow me, and like to meet Daniel and all the other what I'd say, the famous guys, the Power Up's famous guys, the big hitters out there. By the way, Daniel, how many videos do you have? You have like over 300 videos, I think, which is totally crazy. And I think you've been doing it quite a few years as well. But anyway, so hopefully, I'll see some of you guys there. Okay, so yes, this so idea for rental application. Okay, so what did I do in the previous? Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, over 300 videos. Absolutely. Data's king. I went to the conference last year in Branson, Missouri. Great info. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Okay. I just did an app for a client. This could start as a demo of that app. I probably have to take out their logo. I probably have to make a copy of the app, create all the SharePoint lists in my environment, take out their logo, change the company name up in the header, and I think we'd be safe. So I do a demo of that app and maybe a technical walkthrough as well. If there's enough interest, make a project out of it. Okay. And what I mean by a project is certainly the project that I'm doing with you guys with the ticketing system is showing you how to do the whole thing, you know, sort of recreate it with you guys. Um, we could create it oops, from scratch over several videos. Okay. Uh, ease of effort. I'm gonna rate this the ease of effort here. Maybe a 7 or a 6 because all that work of like taking out this stuff, maybe a 6, yeah. But as far as talking about how I did it, that'd be easy. But I'd want to give you guys visuals and stuff. All right. So I'm going to say ease of effort 6. I'm going to hit save there. And then once I go through each of these, I'll probably go through and give them little sort order numbers. Okay. So I'm going to go back. All right. Let's move on to the next one here. So Victor, okay, the invoice generator. Okay. This is awesome. Because let me see what this. I don't know what I'm about to see. I don't know if it's my video or somebody else's video. And okay, the video is not available anymore. Okay, so um, since it's not available anymore, I might just take that out. Okay, so let's see here. So by the way, I just recently, just sort of like the last thing is just finishing up an invoice application for a freelance gig um, for a client that needed an invoicing system. And it's really cool. And I'd have to do the same thing. And I have to make a copy of it and take out client information and that type of stuff. So I'm going to put that as a 6. Whoops, not there. That is a 6 there. Along with a quotation app. As soon as a quote is accepted by a customer, then you can process with shipment service. Okay, so this is turning into something different. So maybe that video would have given a lot more information. Okay, so invoice generation comes from here. As soon as a quote is accepted by customer, you can proceed with the shipment or service and then issue the invoice by converting the quote easily into a quote. One screen for quotes, another screen for customers where you can select and see what they have bought in the past. I've already done something like this. I'd love to see your efforts, what you would come up with. Okay. So this is by Victor. Now I don't see Victor on today, but he is a regular on the channel. So perhaps whenever I see him on next, maybe I'll ask him about this. Um, okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this. Not so much an invoice generator. I would say this was a quote, like an estimation quote generator. And I would say estimation quote system or application. Okay, I'll change that to that. And in that case, as he sort of described that, that would be more of an effort. I'd put that down as maybe a 3. That would be quite a bit of effort because I would almost need to design that application, maybe get him on, maybe bring him on as a guest. And by the way, if any of you guys want to be a guest here on a live stream, let me know. It'd be very easy to do this with StreamYard, and it doesn't have to be the whole time. It could just be a little 5-minute thing. But or Victor could just type, or somebody could type in the chat here as well. But yeah, we would need to get all the requirements before I would do that. And especially since that video is no longer there. Okay. This video was referenced, but it is no longer there. I'm going to save that. Okay. I'm going to try to cover as many as I can here. Create a checklist for screen development. Okay. Some guy named Darren did this. Let's see what this has to say. Okay. Create a checklist for screen development. For example, make sure tab order setup spinners are on the screen. That's actually a good idea. I'm trying to think if I was to use something like this in doing Power Apps development. There are a few things that you might want to do. Um, that you want to have in there for every, so it's like a checklist. Like, okay, so I've done this screen. I think I'm done. Okay, but do I have all the tab index working right? I need to test that. Like maybe even a testing checklist as well. Um, I'm trying to think of things that I would want in that checklist. The Z order. So there, whenever you have a like a weight spinner, you always want to make sure that's on top. So if you work on a screen, you're going to add controls and then always get in front of the spinner. So just like a reminder to make sure you got everything there and set up right before you send off the link to the customer. Like, okay, this is done. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm sort of torn here because I don't know if that I would want to create an app for that. Although it would be sort of cool to have an app like, okay, and it would keep, it would have like a data or have like a list for all your apps, and all your apps, you've got all these screens. Um, and then for all these screens, you've got like a checklist of things. You got checklist questions and checklist answers. That's sort of a cool idea. So I would say ease of effort to create that video, maybe a 5. Okay. So over here, create an app to track, okay, your Power apps. So you'd have a list for that. You'd have uh, screens for each app. For each screen, you've got checklist questions, checklist answers. Okay, and those answers would have a relationship there to each screen, and there'd be a relationship between. So that would actually be a sort of a cool little app. I was sort of debating on my mind if would I really want an app to keep track of all that, or would I just want to have like a spreadsheet or something? Um, but here in Power Apps, we're down on just using spreadsheets and more on creating apps, right? All right, so I'll leave that as a 5. I'm going to hit save and go back. And all right, so let's see here. All right, so looking at the next one. Hey, if you're getting anything helpful out of this, a comment or even a like really helps the channel and lets people like you know this is good content. Much appreciated. All right, so the next one here, it says quotation app. Okay, so the previous one was done by Victor, and then he created this other one. Okay, so Dana says, Darren, if data source is not a concern, then this could be easier built using a model driven app. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my only thought about yeah, I would agree with you. My only hesitation about using a model driven, of course, you're bound to using the data source. So, and I did a poll. If you click on my channel and go over to the community tab, let me show you guys something real quick. If you go over to community, I've got a lot of polls out here, so I'm trying to find all kinds of information from you guys. Number one is, look, what data source you use, and I've had almost 200 people to answer that, and 70% of you guys are using SharePoint. And I think the big reason for using SharePoint is that you don't have the license to use Dataverse. Okay, but I would 100% agree with Daniel. If you are using Dataverse, um, check out model driven. Instead of a low code, it's more like a no code type of situation, and you can create things much quicker with model driven. So I'd agree with that, Daniel. Yeah, but if you don't have the Dataverse, you just wouldn't be able to do that. Now, what I did, my first place to work for the state of Florida, an agency within the state of Florida, and they refused to buy the licensing. I mean, they had a lot of people to buy for, so I sort of understand that. Um, you could just pay $5 a month to Microsoft to get your own environment. You'd have your own SharePoint, you'd have your own, and then you could just buy a Power Apps license, which you could probably get for $10 a month, or just do a trial that just keeps going. So there's ways around it. I mean, if you want to learn, or just use that app in your own environment to manage your other apps. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. So thanks for sharing that, Daniel. All right. So let's go in and look at this one real quick. Okay. What else we got here? Quotation app, reference numbers, select customer from database, race, rates, dates, follow up. Okay. And I'm going to say this looks a bit item, maybe. Okay. So maybe because it seemed like at first he was maybe only he could answer this because it seemed like he was talking about a an invoicing system. Okay. So maybe I'll revisit that with him. Okay. Integrate with Power Automate. Okay. Integration with Power Automate. Okay, so that'd be something I definitely could do. There's actually quite a few use cases. Power Automate really complements what you can do in Power Apps. So if you need to call, if you're dealing with SQL Server, you need to call a store procedure. You can't call a store procedure directly from Power Apps, but you can easily, quickly create a Power Automate flow that would call a store procedure within SQL Server. Uh, it's probably one of the easiest flows to create. So that'd be an example of something I could do. I would probably put, of course, I'd have to have SQL Server set up, which could be another video idea. But I mean, you could create a Power Automate that would send out an email whenever somebody changes something in SharePoint. That would be something simple. I'd put that maybe at a 7, and then that should probably be a video series. Maybe I'd create a SharePoint. I'm sorry, a playlist within my channel, and these are all the Power Automate. And yeah, I've been planning on doing some Power Automate stuff, but it would always be in support of whatever we're doing in Power Apps. So this channel is more about Power Apps than anything else on the Power Platform. I have a video on Power Pages. Um, so it would just be in support of whatever we're doing in Power Apps. So I'm gonna hit save there. Okay, this is looking good. All right, so one last thing I will leave you guys with. Guys, for some reason, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video next. Let's see if they're right. Or you can select this playlist, which I've selected for you based on the content you're currently watching. Guys, gotta hurry, click one of them. Otherwise, YouTube's gonna autoplay some other video, which you probably don't want. Thanks.